This is our destination today. It is a great hike down here. It's actually a very easy hike down. But if you want a difficult hike, hike back. And then it'll be a little more difficult. We're actually going to shoot straight through. We have a shuttle car at the bottom, and we're going to keep going down, and we're going to see Oak Spring and another spring that's down and around the corner from Oak Spring. So you can either return back to the campground or join us as we head further down the trail. This is the trailhead for the Window Trail. It's actually in the campground. You can hike from the lodge or you can hike from the campground. We parked in the amphitheater parking lot as recommended by the rangers and walked through the campground to the trailhead. As we hike down the trail, we are hiking right against the west wall of the basin, and you can see all of the interesting rock formations. These pinnacles here down at the bottom, and these four slotted rocks here. This is one of my favorite formations here in the basin. This is the opposite side of the canyon. Also has some unique rock formations as we're hiking down to the Window Trail. So while we were standing here taking a rest, a jaybird flew in, and then another one flew in, and then a couple of more flew in, and before you knew it, there were probably a dozen jaybirds around us. I think they must be the seagulls of the Chisos Basin. A number of years ago, I was backpacking with my four oldest sons in the Sierra Nevada mountains just north of Yosemite. When we got to the lake, the boys took their backpacks off. I took my backpack and was looking for a good campsite. I found one in the far corner of the lake, dropped my backpack, and returned to get my sons. I wasn't gone 5 or 10 minutes. We got back to camp and there were 2 blue jays on top of my backpack. They had pulled the flap back, had found a full bag of dinner rolls that my wife had made us, and had either eaten or ruined about half of the dinner rolls. I learned my lesson after that experience. Blue jays aren't just pretty, they're smart and hungry. We're down at the Window, which is at the base of the Chisos Basin. All the water that falls into the Chiso Basin, all the snowmelt, everything comes down to the bottom of this, what they term a window. And you can see right how narrow it gets down here. It's actually a narrow section of the canyon, so it's a pretty section of the canyon with the narrows and all the rock formations and features. And the section of the basin that we've been hiking through has been very dense. I'll have my son kind of pan down the basin a little bit and then pan up so you can see how steep the canyon walls are as we hike through this section to arrive at our destination at the Window Overlook. You can see how narrow the section of the trail is in the canyon as we walk down to the Window Rock at the bottom of the window. So as we round the corner and are getting closer to our destination, the fog is rolling in from the desert floor. We're actually meeting a shuttle at the bottom, and this morning when we parked the shuttle, it was dense ground fog. So we've gotten down to the last little section prior to seeing the window. I don't know how well we'll be able to see the window because we're down into the fog now, but it is still a very pretty rock formation. You can see my son McAllen as he's walking down through the narrow section of the canyon as we approach the window. I'm not sure we'll get a view today, but we'll go find out. So this is our destination today. It's the Window Pour-Off for Oak Creek. It's a beautiful hike down in here. The narrow section is beautiful. The bottom of the canyon is beautiful with lots of greenery. Rock formations are also beautiful. You can see the spillway right there, and then across from the spillway there's a little narrow V rock. If you look in the National Parks books, they show a lot of pictures taken from down here. It's a great hike, great destination. Even though we didn't get any kind of a view because it wasn't clear looking through the window, the mist really made for a very unique experience. And we all thoroughly enjoyed it. And we all, of course, had to go down and get our pictures taken. It actually ended up being our favorite hike. As we're returning on the Window Trail to go connect with the Oak Springs Trail, only about a quarter of a mile back down, you can see how unique this narrow section of the canyon is. And then as we met up with the intersection of the Oak Springs Trail, we started heading up the face of the mountain, and when we got to the top, we actually paralleled the mountain for a while, as you can see by this section of the trail. In fact, the combination of the terrain and the mist made for such a unique experience. unlike any other experience we had while we were in the park for those 4 days. Although I'm sure we missed some great views, we really enjoyed this part of the trail and the experience that came along with it. This is a unique and interesting rock feature as we were hiking along the trail with the spines on the side. Pictures next to dead trees are for my mother-in-law, Camille. She says it's artistic, so we do it for her. Now that we've come down off the mountain and down into the desert, the trail, the terrain, and the vegetation have all changed. You can look back at the window and see that it's still somewhat in the fog as we've come down below it. We're just arriving to our destination, our second destination, which is Oak Spring. It happens to also be the trailhead of our third destination, which is Cattail Falls. Noelle and I headed to the shuttle from the Cattail Falls trailhead, and McAllen and Noah took the hike into Cattail Falls and decided to try their hand at Hidden Gems of Nature. Let's see how they do.
Go for it.
Here we go. So, welcome to our destination today. We're here at Cattail Falls. You can see it here in the background. This is a really beautiful falls with these beautiful mountains that rise up out of the desert. It's about a 1 mile branch off of the Oak Creek Spring Trail, and just, you know, a beautiful trail. Not that hard, kind of uphill the whole way, but not too bad. Join us as we come and enjoy the gems here as we explore and discover today.
This is our destination, Cattail Falls. You can tell by the previous segment that the canyon gets quite a bit of water because of the denseness of the wood down in the canyon. This trail, along with the last trail we were on, the Oak Springs Trail, are not sponsored by the national park anymore. Although the signage on the trail is still very clear and very well kept, the parks no longer support it. But enjoy this hike. It's a great hike and very well-traveled trail. At least my son said it was a great hike. And now it's Noah's turn to try his hand at hidden gems. Let's see how he does.
So, we're at our destination here today. It's Cattail Falls. You can just really feel the breeze that comes up. It feels really nice and cool down here below these rock faces at our destination.
On the way down to Stelena Canyon, we saw the Mule Overlook and then saw some other unique rock formations as well. Enjoy the drive as you head down to Stelena Canyon. This is the mouth of Stelena Canyon, and this cliff that you're looking at right now is on the Mexico side, of course. We'll look upstream. We're just going to hike up the switchbacks to the top of the trail, and then the trail eventually goes right back down to the river, and we'll get some shots of the river about a half mile up the canyon. This canyon runs for about 22 miles and is a very popular canyon to raft down. It doesn't have a lot of white water in it, maybe 1 or 2 class 2s in it. It's mostly slow moving, but it's supposed to just be gorgeous cliff views the entire way. As we look upstream on the river, I'm going to go ahead and pan the camera around so you can see what the entire river looks like across and downstream, and then up the cliff so you can see the magnitude of these cliffs and their height and how narrow this section is. Who knows, you may find yourself rafting or canoeing down this river one day. is our destination today. This is Stelena Canyon. We're partway up the canyon, probably about a half mile. You can see the cliffs, how steep they are. It's a beautiful little hike down into the bottom here. See the Rio Grande River. It's just a short little hike down by the river. Very cool and beautiful down by the river in the shade of the canyon walls. Enjoy yourself as you explore and discover the hidden gems along this trail on the Rio Grande River.